Welcome to episode 67 of The Leap Home, The Last Gunfighter.
In this week's episode, Sam has to find a way to protect the honour of a former Wild West gunman who has long claimed to be the man who cleaned up Coffin, Arizona. When a competing claim emerges, can Sam persuade his new rival to settle their dispute peacefully, or will his fate come down to a gunfight he's destined to lose?
Oh, Sam, I just saw that guy from Bonanza. What? Yeah, he's driving that pear. Dad, now that's a pear.
Al.
What?
Good morning, Ian. How are things?
Not too bad, Gerry. How are you?
I'm just enjoying a nice pear.
It's one of your usual breakfast treats.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I like to indulge.
Every now and then.
Daily.
It's quite difficult to find a good pear.
Mm.
Sometimes they're too hard.
Yeah, not quite as natural as you would like. Are we talking about the same thing here?
It's hard to say.
Okay.
I thought this week's episode was an interesting way to kind of develop this sort of Western aesthetic inside the parameters that they've already established for the show. Not that they stick to the parameters any other time.
I did appreciate that myself. I like that setting. You're not a big fan of
Westerns.
You hate Westerns, yeah. I'm not saying I'm a massive fan, but I enjoy a Western setting.
This wasn't too Westerny. It was fine.
Oh. I mean, it's like in the same way I enjoy Back to the Future 3 being set in the Old West. You know, I'm not an aficionado. I couldn't tell you every... I've not seen High Noon, I don't think.
Yeah, there's only so many times you can watch a guy ride into town and shoot the bad guys.
But, I mean, it's a cliche in terms of script writing or screenwriting. It's one of the sort of the templates of storytelling and movie making.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people would argue that
Star Wars.
I was going to say Star Trek.
I'm sure we've had this discussion before, probably in the Star Trek episode when it was back in the Old West.
No, but not even just the Old West one. A lot of folk would argue that Star Trek as a concept borrows heavily from the Western tradition.
Of course.
And I enjoy that, so maybe I would if I gave it a chance. I also hate pirate movies.
See, yeah, no, I quite like a pirate movie. I like Treasure Island. I like the book. I had to read that at school like most people.
The Muppet versions that year.
Oh, that's good, yeah. The thing is, yeah, pirate movies, I remember being disappointed watching the first Pirates of the Caribbean and getting a sort of 3/4 way through and thinking, yeah, it's a good romp, as they might say here. And then they come up with all the supernatural garbage and I was like, oh, you've ruined it for me now.
Yeah. No, I tend to find, especially pirate movies that are at sea, there's a lot...
That's pirates got nothing to do with this. Let's just move on from pirates.
Okay, we'll come back to when there's a pirate episode. There is, in this episode, an annoying child, to flag that up at the start in case anyone's triggered by that sort of thing.
Yeah, precocious. I mean, I think he played the role well. I mean, the role was meant to be quite annoying, I think. Or was it? Maybe it was meant to be endearing, I don't know.
I think he was meant to be endearing and he came across as irritating.
Yeah.
We can get to
child
this.
actors are, yeah. And I also thought, now we're talking about how it's working within sort of parameters, that last week we had it as well. So in this situation, like last week, where Sam could solve the leap simply by running away.
Yes.
But there has to be sort of jeopardy for other people to prevent him simply doing that.
Yeah, it kind of tethers him to the local area.
Yeah.
Forces them to solve the problem rather than avoid the problem.
Of course.
Although we can argue that he doesn't solve the problem. We'll come to that. Before we do, social media accounts, please get in touch with us if you want to discuss any of these episodes or any other Quantum Leap related paraphernalia. We're at Leap Home Podcast on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, etc. We are available on theleaphome.com where you get show notes for each episode with interesting links and so forth, and you can leave comments there as well. And if you want to get ahead of the game, if you go to our YouTube channel, Columbo Podcast Productions, you can get every episode 1 week early there.
Okay, are you ready for a showdown?
I am, are you?
Let's crack on.
So the intro is just what we saw at the tail end of last week's episode. Sam leaps into a gunslinger.
And I got it right.
Oh yes, you did.
Predicted this might be what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's on an old Western style street. He shoots a man off a roof and is then immediately challenged. I think his name is Tyler, is that right? Sam's Tyler.
Yes.
By a man who states that he has killed his 3 brothers. And as he looks around nervously, the townspeople come out to watch what's going on.
Yes, we get the oh boy and the credits roll before we return to this setting.
Now, the nervous Sam suggests talking about things rather than having a gunfight. But when this doesn't work and the man draws, Sam's instincts kick in and he rolls along the ground and is able to apparently shoot him. Now, we can talk about this a little bit later as well. It's our favourite subject, our favourite theme here, but obviously this is a sort of fake out, but is Sam taking on the instincts of the person he's leaping into? That was quite fast, he moved. And we see later on as well.
I don't think he even is aware of the person he's leaping into at this point. He's reacting as...
No, but he wouldn't need to. It could be...
Oh, you mean physically?
Yeah.
Well, how many times are we going to have this discussion?
I know. I'm getting bored of it myself.
Yeah. Anyhow, we get some sort of stern looks from the crowd or the audience, I don't know what they want to call them.
Do we?
One or the other, when Sam starts to apologise for having shot this guy.
Yeah, on the screen we're showing that it's not the 1880s, but the 28th of November
1957.
And when Sam stands and, as you say, starts to apologise for killing this or at least shooting this person, he is surprised to find it's a pleasant afterthought round of applause.
Yeah, and I think one of the guys in the crowd spots that Sam seems a bit confused and comes out to round things up for the crowd.
Yeah, is that the barman, I think?
Barman, I don't even know what his name is.
But he thanks Sam for cleaning up Coffin, Arizona. Do you like that name, Coffin?
Yes.
Yeah. Would you live in Coffin?
COUGHIN'.
So it turns out, what is it?
So this is a reenactment. Sam has reenacted killing the 4 Clagan brothers, cleaning up Coffin, Arizona, and there will be a further reenactment for the centennial the next day.
Yeah, this is the centennial period season. So
I think it's centennial of the town rather than of him cleaning up the town,
Yes.
because he's only 82.
Of course.
The crowd are encouraged to eat, drink, and spend a lot of money in the meantime.
And at this point, Sam has to sign an autograph.
Well, first of all, he falls over. He kind of backs away, waving to the crowd, smile and wave, and then trips up.
A young kid produces, I think it's a brother and sister, they produced a Reader's Digest, which contains his biography, I think.
Yes, the story of Tyler Means, which he figures out as himself, so he signs it to them.
And after this, his grandson, Stevie, rushes over, wanting to carry his gun. And it's obvious that even at this point, he idolises Sam.
Yes. So Stevie's mother, who's presumably either Sam's daughter or daughter-in-law.
I think daughter-in-law with the way she talks to him.
Yeah.
About him, yeah.
Yeah, it's never specified, but...
Yeah, but she calls him T. Never says father.
And Stevie has Sam's surname, so yes, you're right.
Yeah, so the daughter-in-law is Lucy, I think.
Yes, she tells Stevie he can't have the gun and that Sam's to stop telling stories and start on the truth. That's quite ominous and a bit rude.
Yeah. I mean, this is the first indication we get that Sam is maybe quite apt at
embellishing. Stevie, however, is adamant that the stories his grandfather tells are true and they were in Reader's Digest, which is proof thereof.
Lucy is called back to her job in the saloon and she gets him to agree to put his gun away safely when they go back to the house. So as Sam and Stevie walk back home, the kid continues to moan about not being able to have a gun when Sam did at his age, according to Sam himself. But he points out that I think times have changed.
Yeah, of course they have.
Well, certainly. You can't have kids running about with guns. Well, I've got to say you can't in 1957, but I think you do have in America these days still.
Let's not get political.
I don't think it's political. I think it's stating fact.
As they walk, this guy, Russ, who's the sheriff of the town, at first I wasn't sure, is he playing the sheriff in this reenactment? But no, I think he is actually
he is.
The local sheriff. And he comes over to tell Stevie that his grandfather's stories are all lies. There's no Santa and no Tooth Fairy.
What we should say as well, before that, Sam catches a glimpse of himself.
Yes, and he is very old.
Yeah. He looks like an old Kirk Douglas.
So like Kirk Douglas?
Yeah. Is Kirk Douglas still alive? No, I think he died recently.
Yeah.
Well, it could have been a young Kirk Douglas.
He was very old for a long time. Well, I know, but surely the default is his most recent age.
I don't know.
Anyway, Stevie tells Russ, the sheriff, that he's a liar and dumber than a mule and deserves no respect from him. He seems to have learned this from Sam. Yes, before Sam himself guides him away into the house. So, we're inside. Stevie continues asking about the gun and wants to wear it, but Sam says no, although he does allow him to take it up to his room, which gives him a chance to speak with Al after he has finished insulting his get-up.
It's November 28th, 1957, and your name is...
Tyler Means.
Tyler Means. You're 82 years old, and you live in Coffin, Arizona. Isn't that a nice name? Coffin. This place started out as a robber's hangout, and then it took off when
they discovered silver in the mid-1870s.
Hey, do you want me to tell you this stuff or you want to read it? All right. Back then, this place was wide open. And it was controlled by 4 vicious gunslingers by the name of the Claggett brothers. Anyway, it's apparently you rode into town with an old gunfighter partner of yours, and the next thing you know...
We got into a shootout with the Claggett boys.
Yeah, and you saved the town. But then you settled down. You're the BMOC, and all the townsfolk, they're very amused by your wild stories and your boasting and your bragging and your gambling and your drinking. But after a couple of decades of sponging, the townsfolk kind of get sick of it, and your tales get wilder, and you become a local joke, the town drunk. You're weaving your tales and mooching drinks.
Until I met this magazine writer.
And Ziggy doesn't have anything more than that because these little towns didn't keep very good records. But when something comes up, you'll be the first to know. In the meantime, hi, ho, Silver. Oy vey.
So Ziggy doesn't have records to tell him about what happened with Sam, but he does know last week that the guy was in a motel for a short period of time.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Sam, as we heard there, enters the saloon with Stevie and receives a round of applause before surprising the barman by refusing a drink.
It doesn't seem that is Tyler's way.
No. Lucy then calls him over and introduces him to who?
Mr. Steiner.
Who's he?
He's a big TV executive from Hollywood.
Hollywood, California.
Yeah.
I think they mentioned that he's from NBC. Why is he there?
He wants to option the rights to Sam's story so that he can make a TV show about it. And he's going to call it The Last Gunfighter.
Yeah, I mean, at this time in the 50s, Westerns were massive in the TV and in the movie theatres and around the world.
Yes. And basically this is a done deal. He wants to get the business folk to hammer out a contract and put this show on. He's not here to hum and haw.
Stevie's a bit naive. He thinks it means that Sam will actually be in front of the camera.
Yes, no, it won't, but...
One of the big actors of the day, maybe Scott Taylor or Andrews, I think, to play Sam's role.
Yes, they're all real actors, right?
Of course they are. Oh, geez, Ian, come on.
I'm pretty sure they are. I've heard of all those names.
Yes, anyway.
Russ chips in, even though it's got nothing to do with him and he's not part of the conversation, saying that there'll be no need to worry about fictionalising anything, as Tyler has already done that.
However, Steiner doesn't really care, as it's TV and, that's what TV's all about, it's just making up. I suppose he just wants to buy some of the perhaps incidents that Sam's talked about and they'll add stuff to the rest.
Make a show, yeah. Sam tells him that as long as the deal is fair and looks after his family, he sees no problem.
I don't really understand that. Look after his family, that's not how it would work. They will give you...
get a fee,
you will get a contract saying this is how much we're going to pay you. It's not like, if I die, you need to look after my son. What do you mean, look after your family?
Well, I think it means it's enough money that my family will be comfortable.
The sheriff again shouts over with disdain that no one will watch the show, and so the barman asks if he's going to lay odds on this.
Steiner's quite amused to learn that the sheriff is also the bookie.
Yes. In any case, Sam shakes on a deal, and Steiner wants the pilot to be about how Sam cleaned up the town, and he wants to start right away. No, you've not signed anything yet.
Yeah, and also, surely that should be the last episode, not the first episode.
No, I'm not sure.
Well, what happens after he cleans up the town? Nothing. There's no story anymore.
No, well, every week would be a new bad guy come into town. You'd have to do something. There'd be romance. There'd be all sorts of stuff. No, I think you have to establish Sam being in that town and who he is. Yeah.
Okay. Al shows up at this point and tells Sam that they need to speak urgently.
Well, yeah, and Sam's quite relieved because obviously he's in no position to start giving any of his backstory.
No. He tells Steiner they need to take a rain check. He wants to have a nap and kind of barges past Lucy, who stops Stevie from following.
Outside, Al is initially distracted by Hoss from Bonanza and then a pair, as we heard in the intro.
Top of the intro. I mean, what age is Al?
Too old for that.
To be distracted. Come on, you're an adult.
Before noting that the chance of Sam telling a straight story is not more than 16%.
In the background, we see a sort of ominous-looking stranger moseying into town on his horse.
And more importantly, Sam is going to get killed in a high noon shootout the very next day. Sam thinks this is absurd and asks who would want to shoot him.
And this ominous-looking guy over his shoulder says, me.
He's a great sort of baddie cowboy. He's a man in black. He's gruff-looking. He's got a sort of gravelly voice. And this causes Sam to utter another, oh boy.
At this point, Lucy, Stevie, Steiner, the sheriff, the barman, and lots of other people pour out of the saloon as this man, who turns out to be Pat Knight,
Yes.
draws his weapon.
Now, obviously, Sam is a bit panicky here. Al tells him to keep his cool as nothing will happen until the next day.
Lucy urges Russ, the sheriff, to arrest Knight, but he has no intention of intervening in this.
We can maybe chat about this later on, but this isn't the Old West that they're living in. There will be consequences here. The sheriff can't watch people shoot each other.
No, you wouldn't have thought so.
Oh. Sam is referred to as a lying and double-faced card sharp, as the man in black throws the Reader's Digest at him and rhetorically asks if he killed the Claggett boys before telling him he made the mistake of thinking he was dead.
Steiner at this point tries to intervene.
Well, he wants to know who the newcomer is, and Knight tells Sam to let him know.
Yeah, he needs Al's help, but does manage to do that, but is challenged to a gunfight the next day at noon, which Knight refers to as a reckoning.
Sam's obviously more worried when Al informs him that Knight has killed more people than Clint Eastwood.
Yes, I don't think Clint Eastwood's killed anybody.
Well, I'm not sure. Well, more people than Alec Baldwin.
Or Walken.
Yeah.
Russ, the sheriff, is more interested in laying odds on this fight than in enforcing the law.
Yes, and Sam, he claims it's all a misunderstanding. But a nervous Steiner is concerned about the money he's going to invest. But he's not invested it yet. Nothing's been signed. Yeah.
He's just a very anxious guy, isn't he?
And he wants to know if this is something to do with the Digest story. Al quickly lets Sam know that in the original history, he is killed before the deal is finalised, therefore leaving Lucy and Stevie with nothing, and suggests that he better make a sharp exit so they can talk things through.
Sam tells Russ not to bet on there being a fight because guns don't solve anything. It's kind of his whole shtick, isn't it?
Yeah. He also says, I think he tries to put on a confident demeanour and assures Steiner that he should draw up the contract and he will deal with this misunderstanding. This delights Stevie, but I think the sceptical sheriff at this point offers 4-1 that Sam will skip town or be gunned down.
A bit later on, we see Sam talking to Al, and Al has been speaking with the real Tyler.
Is this back in the house? Yes. Al tells him that the real Tyler, he wants more drinks and physicals.
Yes,
in the waiting room.
A bit more time with the nurses.
But he has revealed nothing that might help Sam. He has little else other than it's tough times for Lucy and Stevie. And after he loses the TV deal, his grandson runs away and gets involved in a life of crime, which sees him in and out of jail for the rest of his life.
I mean, I get the impression that might happen anyway.
He's a wrong'un.
Absolutely.
Want to run about with guns.
Exactly, at the age of 12.
What do we find out about his background?
His father died during the war.
And Sam is therefore the only father figure. So when Stevie realises that he's not the hero that he thought he was, this starts his downward spiral.
He looks like he's on the brink of one anyway. He's very, very nervous about everything.
Yeah. Yeah, and in frustration, Sam asks Al if he is meant to kill Knight, which is overheard by Lucy and the cheery Stevie who have just entered.
Yes, Stevie heads upstairs while Sam assures Lucy that nobody's going to get shot.
Yeah, but she's not convinced, and they sit together as she lets him know of her concerns.
T? What's going on?
Nothing. I was just talking to myself.
About killing Pat Knight?
Nobody's going to kill anybody.
Well, then why are you even talking about it?
Because I was remembering a story, a time when I used to ride with Pat, you know, and somebody came up to me and offered me money to kill him. But I turned him down.
Ooh, Sam, that's pretty good.
I don't remember you telling me that story. Or even talking about him.
Well, there are a lot of things I haven't told you about.
I bet there are. But, T, this man, he wasn't kidding around.
Lucy, please, I'm gonna be okay. I won't do anything foolish.
Good. Because I couldn't stand it if something happened to you.
I swear to you, I won't let you and Stevie down.
T, you always say that, but it never happens. Like when this Mr. Steiner showed up and offered to pay you for your stories, I thought, Now we can send Stevie to college. He can be somebody when he grows up. But now, I have a bad feeling about all this. You gonna change before dinner?
Yeah, in a minute.
So as Lucy heads off to change herself, Sam has other plans.
Yeah, he moseys over to the saloon to sort things out with Knight.
Before they leave, though, Al kind of peers upstairs. Do you think he's trying to see Lucy changing?
Nope. I think,
He's just checking she's out of the way?
yes.
Okay.
And after refusing another drink, he finds himself sitting with Steiner, who admits that he's heard a lot of interesting stories from Sam's old partner.
Well, Knight's there as well, isn't he? They're all sitting together. Steiner gets a phone call at this point, which is quite convenient.
Well, I think, yeah, he seems less sure about Sam, obviously, from listening to Knight. In any case, Sam, he takes a seat without being invited, and he admits that his memory isn't so good and doesn't really know why Knight's there.
Yeah, but Pat doesn't believe him at all.
Not gets a chuckle from him, who thinks he is lying and knows exactly why.
Obviously, Sam doesn't know exactly why he's there. You'd think he could guess. But he offers a sort of widespread apology for anything that may have offended Pat.
And so he asks if this means he will be giving up the TV deal.
Yes, but Sam doesn't see why that would be the case.
And this causes him again to laugh sarcastically and claims he hasn't changed a single bit.
At this point, Knight tells a story about a girl called Patience in the town of Apolline, I believe.
Yeah, they had an argument over this woman, and it resulted in them resolving their dispute without the need for a gunfight.
Yes, and Sam's very excited about this possibility because he thinks maybe they can apply the same rules to this dispute.
And then reluctantly agrees to join him again in an alternative to a gunfight.
Al encourages Sam to do this.
Well, I think it's the lesser of two evils. What is it?
Well, it's a case of who can drink the most without collapsing.
Yeah, it's a drink of a little bit like in Indiana Jones.
Sure. Pat toasts once partners, always partners, perhaps a bit sarcastically.
Yeah. Now, so this is a question. Does Sam get drunk if he...
I've written this down.
Have
Is it
you?
Sam or Tyler who's taking the alcohol? And
I think we have to assume it is Sam, because in the leaps, if Sam gets punched, he will feel the pain.
yep. So he's going to feel the
Effects of the alcohol, yeah. Anyway, we cut back to them. This was crazy. It looked to me as if there were 4 bottles in. Now, that, even for a heavy drinker, 4 bottles, 2 bottles of whiskey each.
That's a lot. He would be dead.
You would be dead in that short period of time. Unless, of course, I mean, I'm not sure, maybe this, it can go either way. Whiskey back in the day might be
Watered down
stuff, or it could be crazily homebrew. Bootleg, yeah. But I mean, by today's standards, 40%. If you drank 2 bottles, you'd be in a bad state.
Yeah.
Straight whiskey.
Unless they weren't full to start with.
Even if one wasn't, the rest would be full.
Yeah, you would think. Yeah. Anyway, Sam tries to tell a story about stealing some horses that he recalls, I think, from a movie. Do you know what movie?
I'm not sure.
I thought it might be a reference we should get, but it didn't ring any bells for me.
I think he makes up some stories as well, because they're both drunk, and he thinks naively that they put the past in the past, and so is disturbed to hear that Knight has no intention of backing out, as he has his honour to uphold.
Yes, he's also got a side bet
With the sheriff.
on which way Sam will fall when he's shot.
That's a little bit, remember TFI Friday? Used to have the baby,
Right.
and you'd guess which way it would fall, left or right.
Poor baby. Sam makes a joke at this point that's assuming Knight can shoot him.
And even in this drunken state, he demonstrates right there and then that it won't be an issue.
Indeed.
How do you do that?
He takes down some glasses off the bar.
I think he shoots the bottle out the barman's hand as well.
Yeah. Quite impressive.
Very. Back at Sam's home.
Yeah, Al sees him stumbling up the front drive and tells me he'll be in a state in the morning.
Yeah, he's in an absolute stupor. He falls at his door as he insists to Al that nobody is going to be killed. Stevie overhears this and wants Sam to confirm that he'll at least shoot Knight.
Stevie! There's a hole right there. Watch that hole. Stevie, this isn't a game that we're talking about, you know? You know, guns kill people.
You're not afraid to face him, are you?
Yeah, I'm afraid to face them. Anybody who says they're not afraid to stand in front of a loaded gun is either crazy or stupid or suicidal or nuts or
But
out
we
of their...
can't back down. everybody will make fun of us. And the kids will go back to teasing me all over again.
Oh, wait a second. Sit down here. Sit down. Now listen to me. I know this may sound corny to you probably, but life is precious. And you see, once you're dead, you're dead.
But everybody's gonna laugh at us. They're gonna say you're just drunk.
It doesn't really matter what other people do or say. What matters is what you know and hear about yourself and about others. Because the most important person you have to listen to is you. Right?
Guess so.
Well, you guessed right. So come on, give your old grandpa a kiss goodnight, huh?
Okay.
Mwah. Now get some sleep, because it's late. Sure.
Okie dokie.
Okay. Sleep tight.
Couple of things from that.
Yeah.
I worry that Stevie, with his unhealthy obsession with guns and the fact that he's getting bullied at school, this seems to me that he might be a candidate for performing the first school shooting.
Certainly should be on a watch list.
Yeah.
He's got a complete absence of any personality whatsoever.
Also, Sam's advice there, like, the only person you need to listen to is yourself. I mean, that's the opposite of what you should,
Yeah. Consider others.
Firstly, as we've said here, he's a psycho. Like, Stevie's a gun nut. It's like, oh, it'd be cool if I can bring these guns into school and I'll sort out the bullies and the bullies' friends and the bullies' relatives and anyone else that gets in my way.
These people are wrong. I only need to listen to myself.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's exactly the type of people that do that. Listen to the voices in their heads.
Yeah.
Don't listen to other people, please. Put the gun away.
Yeah, consider those around you. Very terrible advice from Sam, in fact.
Well, he is drunk, mind you, on 2 bottles of whiskey.
This reminded me a little bit, although obviously less effective, of the episode with the nuclear bunker when he was giving the kid a sort of a talk about how, there's not going to be a nuclear war and all this.
Yeah. And did that not end with the kid pulling out a gun as well?
Yeah, pretty much. It seems that his advice isn't always the most productive.
No. So with Stevie back inside, Al suggests that Sam should maybe get used to Tyler's weapon. But he still insists there won't be a gunfight as he's got a cunning plan.
Literally a cunning plan. He wants to get Knight jailed by the guy that he's pals with.
Yes, by the guy who wants to see him shoot Sam.
Yes.
However, Al tells him that he still gets killed the next day and then mentions that it only takes one person to have a gunfight and that in reality, most were in fact ambushes.
Is he suggesting that Sam ambush
I think I
Knight?
Maybe, yeah.
Nothing ever comes of this.
No, there is he realises
it pays off later on with the story, but yeah.
And yeah, I'm not sure what, telling us drunk, like...
At this point, yeah.
You told me to go and... I didn't tell you, Sam. No, I was
what's
saying
happened is they've wanted to use it later. They thought, we need to seed this earlier on, so mention ambushes 2 or 3 scenes earlier.
But Al comes back in and he's like, I've done it, Al. What? Oh, I shot him in the... He was in his bed and I shot him in the head. You told me to. No, I didn't. Yeah, you said about the ambush. No, I didn't. Ah, well.
Now you're a coward and a drunk. Next morning we see Sam with his hat down over his eyes, covering his hangover.
It must be a terrible hangover.
Ooh. He sets up some bottles to shoot, and we see Al in his own very nice hat.
Yeah, he tries to pass on the knowledge that he got from Fifi Boom Boom LaRue, a stripper with a fine matching pair of pistols.
Yeah, Al's actually brought a gun into the chamber with him.
Al is fast, but Sam struggles to get it out the holster, and even when he does, his aim is terrible. At this point, I'm thinking, why are you trying to teach? It's different from, like, say, the pool episode, where you're not up against someone directly. So you could, if you can play pool yourself, it doesn't matter how good your opponent is, if he's sitting in his chair, you can maybe still do something. But in this situation, it makes a mockery of the skill itself. Like, if there's people who are like these fast shooters, if you could think that you could, match them or beat them with a hangover and half an hour's worth of practice, it's like you're saying, well, there's no skill to that whatsoever.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a complete waste of time. You cannot train someone to not happening.
No.
Almost as ridiculous as the time you taught him to be a heavyweight boxer.
Yes.
With his own middleweight physique.
Yes. Knight shows up at this point and shows off his own skills, despite what we presume is a hangover. A matching hangover.
Yeah, his speed or accuracy have not been diminished by the alcohol.
He also has a tip for Sam.
What's that?
Don't talk to yourself while you're shooting, it'll put you off.
Yeah. He calls Sam pitiful, and he responds by stating that they both know Knight's a better gunslinger, and two reasonable men should be able to come up with a better solution.
He insists once again that he genuinely does not know what Knight is upset about.
Yes, and so Knight describes exactly why he is so determined to kill him.
Look, I can understand now why you're so angry at me. What with the article and all.
Angry doesn't begin to describe it. No man likes to have his reputation bushwhacked by his partner.
Oh, hey, maybe he ambushed the Claggets. Try that.
Wait a second. I was just thinking that maybe...
Ambush?
Wait, I remember. You ambushed a couple of the Claggett boys, didn't you?
I caught Elwyn coming off his horse. But Wendell had a gun when he came out of that outhouse. And Jonah and Jamie, I faced off fair and square.
Yeah, with a little help
With
from
a
you.
little help from me.
All you ever did was make them duck.
Yeah, but the point is you didn't do it alone. Or face to face. You bent your story. Same way I did. It's not so terrible.
I didn't bend my story. You outright lied. You said you did it alone.
Yeah, well, if you wanted to be such a big hero, why didn't you stick around?
Good one.
You know why? Someone had to ride out to the Claggett place and break the news to Ruthie.
Ruthie?
Someone had to comfort that poor girl.
Ruthie Claggett, younger sister of the Claggett boys, Ruthie.
Must have been some comforting, considering that you never came back.
Well, let's just say it took longer than I expected.
Oh, that sounds like an interesting story.
Look, Pat, if I change my story now, I'll lose everything.
You made the problem, mister, and it's up to you to make it right.
Yeah, but the only thing that's at stake here is your pride. Now, you can't believe that it's worth killing somebody over a matter of pride.
What the hell else did we ever have?
I mean, apparently, some women like a bad boy, but it doesn't get much badder than the guy who has killed your four brothers.
Yeah, isn't that what happens in West Side Story?
Is it?
Or Romeo and Juliet, I guess.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, his story is interesting. I don't get why he's here. He obviously doesn't care what the people in this town think about, or he would have been here before now.
No, but he doesn't know about it because it was only when it was printed in the Reader's Digest.
But it's obviously not important to him that they know that he killed the people.
Why?
Because otherwise he would have been here at some point. Or is he just sitting wherever he lives thinking, oh yeah, well, back in Coffin, they think I'm a hero.
Yeah. And then he read, oh, wait a second.
They don't think I'm a hero.
No, so his entire sort of history, as far as he's concerned, has now been... But you're right, I mean, I don't understand. He's in his 80s. He's got to go and kill someone, but spend the rest of his life in jail for what?
What's the point? Yeah.
No.
Anyway, back at the house, Stevie is now at his most irritating.
Yeah, he wants Sam to assure him that he won't be running away. But rather than agree to this, Sam tries to explain that back in the Old West, people wore and used guns as there were less sort of laws and people to defend them, so they sort of had to look after themselves, and it was a more dangerous place.
Stevie says that Sam's always taught him a man doesn't quit, but now he's going to run away and the whole town will know that he's a coward. Stevie needs to be told to sit down, shut up and respect your elders.
I'm not going to a gunfight because you think I'm a coward.
He's 12 years old.
Oh, your wee pals. Yeah,
I don't care what you think or what your bullies at school think.
Yeah.
I'm not getting shot.
Just to show you that I'm a tough guy.
Yeah. When you're 21, you can talk to me about gunfights.
Yeah. And he doesn't care what they had that little, as we heard in the previous clip, that, you know, that sort of heart to heart where you thought he was getting through to him, but he said, "Nah, I'm not interested in that."
Yeah, I really enjoyed this next bit. We see a close up of the clock, and it shows that 2 minutes have passed. Sam's still sitting there, and Al tells him he still gets killed.
Yeah.
However, if he runs away,
well, exactly, and that's what we mentioned earlier. So for the moment, that seems like a good idea, as Al lets him know that if he does this, he's going to live until he's 95 and die of natural causes.
Not bad for an alcoholic in his dotage.
But what's the problem with that?
Well, Stevie still ends up in jail and dies in a bar fight, but to be honest,
Yeah.
I'm not that fussed about Stevie.
No.
It's not high stakes for me.
This is the path that Stevie's chosen.
Yeah,
He's all into guns and aggressive and he wants to. It's again a bit like Marty McFly, you know, you yell, you coward, he couldn't step back, and that's what happens.
That's his issue. Mm-hmm. And the fact that he gets thrown in jail and dies in a bar fight cannot be pinned on his grandfather telling stories.
No, it's just
wronging.
That sort of nasty mentality. Now, at this point, for some reason, Sam clutches at straws.
Well, he talks about the debate that we've been having for many, many episodes.
He wonders whether or not he might actually be able to outdraw Knight, as he's an old man and Sam will have the younger, quicker reflexes. So he's confirmed that it's Sam's body.
He's confirmed it's Sam's reflexes.
Yeah, but reflexes only work if you get arthritis. Doesn't matter how good your reflexes are, you can't implement them.
Well, that's the suggestion here. Yes. However, Ziggy says, nah, no chance. What's 16% again? Same as he had earlier on.
That's a ridiculous notion.
This is interesting to me though. I think it is 16% that Ziggy says here.
Okay.
So there's a 16% chance he can outdraw Pat. There's also a 16% chance that he's telling the truth.
Is it 16% chance that he's outdraw him, or 16% chance that he won't get killed?
I think that he can outdraw him.
That's a massively high percentage.
Yeah, but if it's the same percentage as the chance that he's telling the truth,
right? Maybe
he's telling the truth. Anyway, noon approaches and Sam decides he has to go and get his gun.
In the saloon, everyone is there and the tension is palpable as Knight comes down from his room and he sits down with a pack of cards, calmly waiting on Sam to show up.
Yeah, but nobody's really interested in taking up on this offer of a game.
No, but maybe it's like a sort of dead man's hand.
Yeah, maybe. Outside we see Stevie wearing Sam's gun belt and gun, sneaking out the house.
To the saloon where the sheriff has no intention of stopping anything. What is this guy doing?
Well, no one's committed a crime at this point.
I think that there'll be many other
threats and stuff, I suppose, yeah. At this point, Stevie comes into the saloon.
Yeah, hearing footsteps, Knight looks up.
They needed better music for this.
You think so?
They could have put in some really cliched music here. It would have been good fun.
I think they did not put the old sort of Clint Eastwood style.
Yeah, I thought it could have been more.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's okay.
So he looks up and he's surprised to find the kid in front of him. And after he claims his grandfather again is not a liar, Knight remarks on how heavy the gun must feel.
At this point, finally, the sheriff is...
That's because Steiner, he says, listen. But as he stands up to approach Knight simply raises his hand, which is enough to put him back in his stool.
He's suggesting that there's no problem here. He asks Stevie how old he is.
And when he hears that he's 12 3/4...
Well, he's nearly 13, yeah.
He acts impressed and reveals that he was 15 himself before he killed his first man, but does concede that these days kids grow up faster.
Back at the house, Sam can't find his gun and Lucy can't find Stevie.
Which causes Al to check and confirm that he gets killed drawing with Knight.
Knight's going to shoot a kid?
Yeah, well, I think it's self-defence. The kid's going to draw on him.
Oh, potentially, yes. Sam tells Lucy this. Well, it doesn't say that he's going to get killed, but it says that he's gone to the saloon to take the fight. So they head off at high speed.
Al arrives before them to find Knight standing and facing the nervous child, who tells him that he came of his own accord. He wasn't put up to it by Sam.
Yes. Knight tells him that he has no quarrel with him.
But Stevie is nearly in tears as he tries to insist his grandfather is telling the truth and it was him who cleaned up the town.
I just feel like Stevie could have been done better.
You think? Okay.
I think there wasn't enough emotion in this because he's a wee naff.
Just then, the clock strikes 12 and Sam bursts in with Lucy just in time.
Sam takes the gun from Stevie and Lucy takes Stevie away altogether.
And I think he says to Knight, has there not been enough killing already? But what, when?
No one's been killed.
No, exactly.
Knight says it's easy to say when you're living another man's reputation. So they head outside, but before they go, Sam has his superpowers to acquire.
Yeah, but before that, Sam buckles up his belt and remarks that sometimes you can't run away from your fate. And at that point, Knight steps outside. Lucy tries to prevent him from following him, but the barman hands Sam a key and nods towards the cabinet on the wall.
Yes, and now outside we see Sam dressed as he was the day he cleaned up the town.
It looks pretty good.
He's got a new gun, he's got a new outfit, and Al urges him not to worry. He will think of something, but he doesn't.
No, I think he's grasping himself. So they face each other down on the street like a sort of a high noon shootout. Now, this is the thing. This is 1957.
Yeah, why is this not being prevented?
You can't be doing this.
No.
Al tries to get him to move further back, but Sam knows that he's no chance of hitting him if he does so, and he prepares to draw, as does Knight.
There's a long sort of interlude here as we see the two men staring each other down.
And then they both go for their guns, and for some, can you explain what's happened here?
Well, Sam outdraws him so comprehensively, Knight just quits.
Two things. This is like 100-metre running. The winner will not be that far ahead of the other person, that the other person wouldn't also, shoot.
Well, I've seen this before. We've done an episode, we've done something where this happened. There was a quick draw and the person was so comprehensively outdrawn that they just quit. Was it in Star Trek?
I'm not sure, but you'd have to be it would have to be like a pro versus us. But two people, Sam is not outdrawing him so convincingly. A professional...
I think Knight sees Sam's got his gun out ready to shoot and he still has in his holster.
You can't do that.
So
that's what actually...
And Sam at this point has shown mercy by not shooting him.
Yeah, how could that have happened? How did Sam outdraw him? With no practice, 10 minutes?
He's got a 16% chance. That's better than 1 in 10.
Nah, I'm just not buying it. I don't understand it. I don't understand how he outdrew him here. I thought actually at one point, Knight had decided... not to kill him and let him do it, knowing that Sam wouldn't.
I don't think that's what happened.
No, I don't think so, but I'm trying to work out why he was outdrawn to the extent where he couldn't even...
Sam just beat the odds.
No. It's not how it works. You can't just beat... Those odds are terrible. You can't be... It's like...
so sometimes Ziggy says this is going to happen, and sometimes he says there's a whatever percent chance this is going to happen, so...
Yep.
This is one of those things. There was a % chance that he was going to be able to...
But it's equivalent of going up against Usain Bolt and saying...
Oh, you're ahead after 10 metres, and he's like, I'm quitting.
No, but he wouldn't be... It would be nowhere near 16%. You have no chance of beating him. Anyhow.
At this point, Sam is acclaimed once again as a hero, and everybody knows he's been telling the truth all along.
Yeah, back in the saloon, Sam is being celebrated as the hero, and Al gives a very quick wrap-up, letting him know that he'd signed the deal and everything is great.
Pat comes in and Sam assures him that didn't really mean anything and asks for a chance to make this up to him.
He does so by getting him a consulting deal and a part in the new show from Steiner.
Yeah, why would Steiner agree to that?
Don't know, I think you would.
I don't understand. Yeah, why did the two of them not just pitch together as partners?
Yeah. This could have been this is how you would solve it right at the start. I'll bring you in here. Yeah.
Yeah, the story already had a partner involved.
Yeah. And that doesn't even solve it. Even though he
has to beat him to in a story where he's not the main guy anymore.
No, I mean, it didn't change the fact that the other guy still cleaned up the town. It wasn't Sam. That doesn't change it.
But he lost the draw, so he doesn't care anymore. His honour is satisfied.
Anyway, Knight agrees to this deal, and when the now friends again give each other a wink, Sam leaps.
Yes, into a Motown singer and a girl group.
Yeah, a young black woman in a singing group who are about to go back on for an encore. Oh boy, oh no, Sam's a woman again. Oh,
that's always good fun. And a very familiar face pops up there as well. We'll talk about that next week.
Indeed.
Hey, so you think that Pat was telling the truth? We know he wasn't telling the truth.
About what?
About being the one that cleaned up the town.
No, I think he was telling the truth about he didn't do it. He was the main man. He
shot a guy coming out the toilet.
Uh-huh.
I mean, that's not...
But Sam didn't do any of this.
Well, no, they were there together.
Yeah, but he was the one that done all the killing. He killed the 4 guys.
Well,
and Sam took all the credit for it, saying it was me.
Maybe not, though. We don't know Tyler's version of the story.
Yeah.
We've then got the point we've already talked about, whether duels are legal in 1950s Arizona.
No, they're not.
I don't think they possibly could be.
No.
And then did Sam actually do anything here other than get lucky on the draw? He didn't take any steps to resolve the problem.
Exactly. There was nothing. It was a terrible... I mean, for all the criticism we have of him, he comes up with a solution. There was no solution here. He fought down, he faced off against a gunfighter. That was a ridiculous thing to do.
Yeah.
You can't think you're going to win that.
He just got to the end of the leap and thought, I've run out of ideas, I'll just do what I'm meant to do.
Mm-hmm. Because if he dies, then he loses the deal anyway.
What they should have had it maybe, I'm not trying to say I'm a better writer than these guys, but maybe in the original history he ran away and now he stands in and he gets killed, and as the fact that he stood in there and got killed makes him a hero, and then he gets his deal.
Okay. The Leap Egan back into that body wouldn't be fun.
No, he will. Or maybe he doesn't get killed, maybe he gets shot.
Well, he can't get killed because then Sam wouldn't leap.
No, maybe he gets shot. Yeah. He doesn't die.
But yeah, the deal should have been signed up before this happened.
Yeah.
He could have pushed that through because the guy from NBC, Steiner, was desperate to start.
Yeah.
So what's going to sign the deal now?
Yeah. Any other thoughts?
Nope.
This originally aired on the 29th of January, 1992, directed by a familiar face, Joe Napolitano, 10th of his 12 episodes. If you want to hear more about him, go back to the episode Pool Hall Blues, which we talked about during the, hopefully didn't edit that out, during the episode. Interesting story on the writing credit. So Chris Rupenthal gets a writing credit for the teleplay. This is the 8th of his 10 he started on. Good Morning Peoria, listen to that if you want to hear more from him. But there's also a writing credit for Sam Rolfe, or a story credit. This was his only Quantum Leap credit. He also wrote for Star Trek Deep Space Nine and Next Generation, Have Gun Will Travel. He did a lot of The Man from U.N.C.L.E., numerous westerns, and died in 1993 when he was 69. So I wonder, was he directly involved in this? Or did he consult? Or did they just borrow from one of his stories and have to credit him?
Yeah, they may have done that, yeah.
And I don't have any information on that.
Yeah, I'd suggest that probably more likely.
Yeah. Pat Knight was played by John Anderson. This was his only Quantum Leap. He was also in things like Psycho, Murder, She Wrote, Star Trek The Next Generation, Gunsmoke, and numerous westerns himself, obviously. And also a lot of science fiction. He died in 1992, just 8 months after this episode aired, when he was also 69. Lucy was played by a familiar face in Susan Isaacs. You'll remember her from Heart of a Champion. So if you want to hear more about her, this was the second of her 2 Quantum Leaps. Go back to that podcast for some more information. Steiner, played by Kenneth Tigar.
I've seen him quite a few
I've seen him
times.
in lots of things. This was his only Quantum Leap, but he was also in the Avengers movie. He's the guy, if anyone remembers how he stood up to Loki in the crowd scene. He was in The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel recently, ER, Lethal Weapons 2 and 3, head of the bomb squad, I think. He's in Star Trek Voyager, Star Trek The Next Generation. He's still acting. He's now 81. Stevie was played by Sean Baca. This was his only Quantum Leap. As a child, he appeared in things like Matlock, The Wonder Years, Murphy Brown, and Home Improvement, but his last screen credit was thankfully in 1993. Russ, we'll do him last. He was the sheriff. He was played by O'Neill Compton. This was his only Quantum Leap. He was also in Deep Impact, Seinfeld, Attack of the 50-Foot Woman, What's Love Got to Do With It, and many other things. His last screen credit was in 2001, and he died in 2019 when he was 68.
What about the little girl?
Cindy.
Yeah.
I think she was a contortionist.
She is, yeah.
Yeah.
I think from a big stuntman family, I think she does stunts as well.
Yeah. We've had a few stunt people. We talked about one not that long ago, the guy who did all the Star Trek stunts. Other trivia, Tyler, the oldest Leapee in the series, at the age of 82. Also, one of the previous old Leapees was also called Tyler, Jesse Tyler, from The Colour of Truth. As you mentioned, Scott, Taylor and Anderson, real TV actors, would have been genuinely considered for a project like this. In terms of things that we learned, Al learned quick draw from a stripper called Fifi Boom Boom LaRue. Anything else? Sam's not great with alcohol.
And
I say that, he took a lot.
Yeah, and it's I think he can handle it. I mean,
That's maybe the other way of looking at it.
and I think now it's been confirmed that it's his body that
Okay.
he leaps into.
That might change.
Okay. Number ones.
Okay, well, I've got a couple of things for on this date if you want them first.
Yeah, sure.
28th November, Wing Commander H.G.F. Larson was killed testing a vertical takeoff aircraft in Nottinghamshire. So that's quite a good juxtaposition of a vertical takeoff aircraft versus the Wild West. 29th, so the second day of this episode, 6 people were killed when the central tower of Oakwood Hospital in Maidstone collapsed after a fire.
Not ideal.
No, that's the last place you want to have a... Anyway.
Number ones, in the UK we had Harry Belafonte with Mary's Boy Child, whilst in the USA it was Sam Cooke with You Send Me.
What on earth Mary's Boy Child doing at number one at the end of in November? Anyway. Next week we have A Song for the Soul, where Sam, without irony, has to protect a young girl from a sleazy adult. So we'll see you in 1963.
Until then,
Cheerio.
bye.